This is page 188. This is the guided practice for lesson 7.3. Use the model below to complete each statement. And so what I want you to recognize, it's a good idea to take a minute to look at the model. We're comparing quarts to cups. And what you should notice is for every 1 quart, there are 4 cups. There are 4 cups in 1 quart, so 1 quart is 4 cups, 2 quarts is 8 cups, and so on. Then the question reads, 4 over 1 equals 3 over 12, so 12 cups equals, well, what I do is I just go find 12 cups. And 12 cups is right here. And it says equals, so I'm just going to go right here and look, and that's a 3. It's 3 quarts. And then on number 2, you're going to recognize that this information is not on the table. The table's too short. It says right here, 4 over 1 equals 40 over 12, so blank cups equals 12 quarts. So where would 12 quarts be? It'd be way over here. We've got 1 quart, 2 quarts, 3 quarts, 4 quarts. It'd be way over here, like way out there. But I can get the answer. It's already given to you, but even if I didn't know that, it's already given to you. Even if I didn't know that, I could figure it out. I noticed that the cups is always 4 times greater than the quarts. So this number is 4 times greater than this number. 12 is 4 times greater than 3. 16 is 4 times greater than 4. So I'm looking for now what's 4 times greater than 12. 4 times 12 is 48. So the answer here is 48. All right, let's move on. All right, number 3. In all of these problems on numbers 3 through 10, it makes sense to have handy your table from page 186. I'm going to reference that table right now as we get ready to do number 3, because number 3 asks us to compare between gallons and cups. So I'm going to go look for that. Page 186, and I'm not going to always go back and forth on my ebook here because it's kind of confusing to the video, but you should go back to this table. This is from page 186. This table has all the conversions that you need, kind of. I said that it has all the conversions, but then on the very first problem, it's missing a conversion, but I'm going to show you how you can use a different conversion to figure it out. So on number 3, it says something about converting between gallons of punch to cups. So we're trying to figure out the conversion between gallons and cups, and we can write it in right here. 1 gallon is blank cups. Now I don't know how many cups it is. It doesn't say. But what I can do is I can figure out, like right here, like look at this one. 1 gallon is 4 quarts, and 1 quart is 4 cups. So let's look at it this way. There are 4 cups in a quart, and there are 4 quarts in a gallon. So what I'm going to do to get the number of cups is I'm going to do 4 times 4, and that's 16. So now I know, even though it didn't very clearly state it, that 1 gallon is 16 cups. If I were you, I'd add this to my table so that you have it for the future. 1 gallon is 16 cups. Now I'm going to go back to my problem. I'm going to remind you how to show your work on these. And I'm going to use a whiteboard on these. You can do the same thing if you want. Number 3, I'm converting between cups, which is 16, and gallons, which is 1. 1 gallon is 16 cups. And it says that she makes 2 gallons. And so now you need to recognize that to get from 1 gallon to 2 gallons, you double that. So that's multiplied by 2. So to find the unknown number of cups, you multiply by 2. 16 times 2 is 32. The answer is 32 cups. Number 4. An African elephant weighs 6 tons. What is the weight of this elephant in pounds? So we go back to our conversion, and we learn that 2,000 pounds is 1 ton. And when we reread the question, it says an African elephant weighs 6 tons. So I'm going to write equals. I'm going to put 6 tons here. And then I'm going to say, how do I get from 1 ton to 6 tons? I multiply by 6. So you multiply 2,000 by 6 and you get 12,000. The answer is 12,000 pounds. If you think you got the hang of this, you can hit pause and try some problems on your own and then hit play to check your answers, or you can keep watching. If you need more help, that's fine with me. Number 5 reads, the distance from Jason's house to school is 0.5 kilometer. What is this distance in meters? So I go to my table on page 186 and I can find the conversion between kilometers and meters. And I know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. And I need to figure out how far 0.5 kilometers is. And this could be a little bit tricky. I think the way I'm about to explain it should make it seem simple. 0.5, if you know that 0.5 is equal to a half, then we can use some reasoning here. 0.5 is half of 1, so our unknown number of meters needs to be half of 1,000. Half of 1,000 is 500, so it's going to be 500 meters. Reasoning skills pay off. So if you use those, if you get stuck on stuff, try to use reasoning and logic, and usually it will work. All right, number 6. We're going to go back. We'll read it first. The mass of a moon rock is 3.5 kilograms. What is the mass of the moon rock in grams? So if we go to page 186, we can look at the conversion between kilograms and grams. And what you can learn is that there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram. And I guess grams shouldn't be GR, it's just G. 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. And you can see that on the table on page 186. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in 3.5 kilograms. And now I'm going to ask myself, how did I get from 1 kilogram to 3.5 grams? I multiplied by 3.5. And that's because of the identity property of 1, the multiplication identity property of 1. 1 times anything is that number. So if I multiply 1 by 3.5, I get 3.5. So I multiply 1,000 by 3.5. And again, you can use reasoning on this. 3 times 1,000 is 3,000. And 0.5 times 1,000 is 500. So it's 3,500. Or, if that doesn't make sense, you could simply do 3.5 times 1,000. I set it up offset like this because these zeros don't impact the answer other than I annex them to the answer. I've got 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 3 is 3. And I need to move my decimal over 1 place. So it's right here. The answer is 3,500. And it's 3,500 grams. All right, let's reset our page because we're getting ready to start a new section here. So we're now on those somewhat tricky problems about, it says use a conversion factor to solve. On the first two, because they set it up for us, I'm just going to use the conversion factor. On the next two, I'm probably going to set up equivalent ratios because I think it's a lot easier that way. I'll let you choose which way you want to solve these. So number 7, they pretty much set it all up for us. They wrote 1.75 grams times 1,000 milligrams per gram. And remember what we did earlier is that we make this over 1, and then we cross-simplify the units. Grams and grams cancel. And the only unit that's left is milligrams, so I'm going to put milligrams here. I could do that on the other one too in just a minute. So now I've got 1.75 times 1,000 over 1 times 1. So the math here is 1.75 times 1,000. I'm going to do that down here. 1.75 times 1,000. These zeros get annexed. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 7 is 7, 1 times 1 is 1. And then I count my decimals. 1, 2, 1, 2. The answer is 1,750. All right, number 8 looks a little different. And I'll show you why. This is the same as 27 over 1. My millimeters cancel, so that all that's left is centimeters. But if you look at the math here, I've got 27 over 1 times 1 over 10. 27 times 1 is 27, over 1 times 10 is 10, and 27 over 10 means 27 divided by 10. I can just write a mixed number. 10 goes into 27 2 times with 7 left, 2 and 7 tenths, and then I'm going to write that as a decimal, 2.7. Now, if you chose a different method but get the same answer, that's cool. That different method is probably equivalent ratios, which is what I'm going to do for numbers 9 and 10. I think it's easier to do an equivalent ratio for numbers 9 and 10. Number 9, a package weighs 96 ounces. What is the weight of the package in pounds? So we want to convert between ounces and pounds. And it's 16 ounces, that's OZ, for 1 pound, that's LB. And I need to figure out the number of pounds for 96 ounces. It's really important that we're labeling. Do you notice I'm labeling things like this, like the ounces? It helps me keep things straight. And then I just ask myself a math fact, how many times does 16 go into 96? And it's 6. So you multiply 1 times 6 and you get 6. It's 6 what? It's going to be 6 pounds. 6 pounds, 6 lbs. Number 10. A jet flies at an altitude of 5,280 feet. What is the height of the jet in miles? So we're going to convert between feet and miles. And in our on our table on page 186, it says that there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And this problem's asking us about 52,800 feet, an unknown number of miles. And you should recognize that it's all the same digits, except for this is 1 digit longer. It's just an extra 0, which means it's multiplied by 10, which means this is multiplied by 10. 1 mile times 10 is 10 miles. That's the answer, 10 miles. Some of those are kind of tricky. If they are, you can watch the video twice. You can ask me for extra help. Let me know. Let's check out this. Essential question. It says, how do you convert units within a measurement system? My favorite method is to write and solve equivalent ratios. Or there's another method. Or use a conversion factor. Okay, good job. We are done with page 188.